everybody and welcome to another video on this channel. If you guys follow me on Twitch, or if you guys have seen the video where Beanie and I ranked sex education characters based on their hotness, then you should already know how I feel about Asa Butterfield. For all of these who don't know, well, I obviously don't know who he is. And because I have too much free time and Sex Education Season 4 only came out last month, and I started this project way earlier than that, so there was no Asa stuff coming out, I decided I start watching every movie he's starring in according to his Wikipedia and rank it. So you don't have to. Warning, the following video is only for entertainment purposes only. I don't want to front neither Asa nor the producers or writers or anyone. I have a very poor taste in movies. I like Twilight. Let's start with the first movie, The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. I know it's not the first movie on his Wikipedia page and I already lose all my credibility at the beginning of this video, but hear me out. I will watch Son of Rambo and I will watch The Wolfman. It's just that I'm not super excited for those movies at the moment and for baby Asa. And he probably is not showing up too much in those movies. I'm not sure, but I just get the vibe. So I skip them for now. But I will watch them, because otherwise the title of this video would be a lie. And who would lie on the internet? Me certainly not. The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas is a historical drama film from 2008, which, surprise, surprise, is not about a pajama party, but about the Second World War, especially about the Nazis. Bruno, who's played by Asa Butterfield, is an 8-year-old boy who's moving from Berlin to somewhere in Poland with his parents, obviously. I did not know it was Poland until I read the Wikipedia article, but apparently it's Poland. Like, it makes sense, but I never really thought about it that much. He's not allowed to leave the garden, but he does it anyway, and meets another child at a fence who's named Shmuel. Bruno doesn't know that behind the fence is a concentration camp and thinks of it as a farm because that's what the parents told him. So he also thinks the people that are on the other side of the fence are farmers and not prisoners. There are multiple conversations that show that Bruno has no clue about the horrors that are happening in the camp, and even Shmuel, who is trapped there, has no clue about what exactly is going on either.
It's not fair. Me being stuck over here on my own, while you're over there, playing with friends all day.
Playing?
Well, that number. Isn't it part of a game or something?
It's just my number. Everyone gets given a different number.
The movie ends with Bruno entering the camp wearing one of the uniforms, or what he thought, pajamas, to help Shmuel find his father who has mysteriously disappeared. Despite upturning his well-being, Bruno keeps following Shmuel through the camp and is a bit confused that it looks different than he thought because he saw some propaganda videos that showed the camps to be nice. Maybe this is one of the reasons why he suddenly felt so unwell in there. But before they can get any further in the camp, they are surrounded by guards and other prisoners and brought into a shower, which is actually a gas chamber, and it kills everyone in there, including Bruno and Shmuel. Personally, I knew the book existed because when I was a child, it was lying around in our living room. I don't know if my mom had actually read it or if it just was lying there, but I remember that as a child I always wondered what it would be about, because the title is so confusing for kids. Of course, when you're an adult, the title makes perfect sense, especially when you have watched the movie or when you know that it's about the war and everything, but children are just innocent. I also have to admit it was not the first time I've watched that movie. I actually have seen it with my mom when I was around 14, I think, or 15. But yeah, it all makes sense now. Watching the movie again made me just think about that my mom probably would love that movie. I mean, we've seen it together, but it just includes all of the things she loves. Big houses that are beautifully and furnished with old furniture, nice dresses or clothes in general, and war movies. My mom loves war movies. I don't know why. So watching it, it really felt like a movie my mom would watch. I personally enjoy the movie as well when I was a child, but I also enjoyed it again when I watched it again. It's a good movie that's tackling a difficult topic. Now that I'm older, I have to admit I was a bit shocked to figure out that a movie like this is not coming from Germany, nor being produced in Germany, nor anything. Not even the book is written by a German. But then again, it all makes perfect sense. German movies suck, and I'm very, very glad it's not a German production. I'm German, I can criticize fellow Germans. My book sucks too, but in a good way. The Nazis in the movie behaved like Nazis. I'm just missing the good German accent to make the movie more realistic and more believable, because everyone loves a good German accent, thanks. The movie is playing with a lot of stylistic devices. It's amazing. For example, the sister of Bruno owns a lot of dolls that are, by the way, very creepy. Later in that movie, all the dolls are piled together and burned after she turned from innocent child to someone that has a poster of Hitler over her bed. And I wish I was lying, but I guess that's probably even not the most unrealistic thing ever. Thinking about that time, and it's hurting a lot. These dolls could be interpreted as a metaphor for the dead bodies in the camp. Or maybe I just slightly overinterpreted that. But then blame it on Mr. Boyfriend, because I think he had this idea and I just wrote it down and stole it. Another thing that is incredible is the innocence of the children in the movie. Bruno doesn't know that his father is in charge of the camp, nor does he know the conditions in the camp, like how bad it really is.
Why do you wear pajamas all day?
The soldiers, they took all our clothes away.
My dad's a soldier, but not the sort that takes people's clothes away.
He is a child, but he also seems so delusional, which makes sense because he's a child and he sees the world with children eyes. But in the eyes of an adult, it just has a very tragical comedy effect. For example, when he thinks of the Jews as farmers, because he does know better, and people he trusts explain the world like that to him, so he believes it. But a lot of other situations, when they're hanging out together at the fence, are just having the same vibe. The peak of this tragedy is obviously when Bruno enters the camp not knowing what could expect him on the other side and just trying to help out his good old friend. He's pretending to be a prisoner himself, which is just so far away from reality, at least from everything an adult person would do, if that makes sense. Like, I'm so bad at describing, but it's just so tragic, and it's so... There's still like this little bit of comedy in it because it's just so absurd. I think absurd is the best word for that. It's not funny, it's just absurd. Overall, I would say the movie is very realistic, and karma is a bitch, I guess, for the dad because he did horrible things, and yeah, I don't know, it's just the ending just leaves you speechless. If you don't like sad movies, this movie is not for you. I personally think it's a great movie with a great scenery and everything. I liked it a lot, and I would definitely watch it again. A clear 9 out of 10 for me, even though there were no sparkling vampires. Nanny McPhee and the Big Bang. Nanny McPhee and the Big Bang is a fantasy movie from another time period from 2010. Despite not being connected plot-wise, it's a sequel to the 2005 film Nanny McPhee, which I have watched, so I have no clue how I did not watch the second movie, actually. I remember the ads in the cinemas, and I remember the posters and everything, but I've never seen the movie until now. Maybe in 2010, I was 10, and maybe I was already too old for that, I don't know. But looking at the movies that came out in 2010, I guess I was too cool for that movie already, because I was watching Twilight and Harry Potter instead. The movie is set in the UK during the Second World War. Isabel Green is the mother of 3 chaotic children, Norman, Maxie and Vincent, while her husband fights in the war. Things get worse when their snobby city cousins Cyril and Celia have to live with them, because it wasn't safe in the city anymore. Nanny McPhee arrives to help her and does her magic to make them get along better. Isabel's brother has lost all of his money due to gambling and hopes to sell the farm Isabel lives on to pay for his debts. The children work together to try to help prevent that, which makes them learn to work as a team. Shit hits the fan when a note comes in that says their dad has fallen in the war. Norman doesn't believe this to be true because, hold on, he can feel it in his bones. Then Nanny McPhee, Cyril and Norman go to London to speak to Cyril and Celia's father to figure out if it's true and if Norman's father has actually died. When they return home to the farm, a huge bomb had fallen onto the fields. I'm not kidding you guys, this is a huge bomb. And I know that because I live in Cologne and we have bomb founds from the World Wars almost every month, or even more than once per month. And I just assumed that they would be found a bit earlier if they were that size. The bomb on the farm, however, did not explode, but it distracted Isabel from signing her half of the farm to the brother so he could sell it, so good job. Then there's a lot of drama because Phil is guilty of lying and the father is not actually dead, and Maxie has to defuse the bomb with the help of a crow. I knew it all along. Birds are not real. In the end, everyone is happy. Nanny McPhee has to go away because she did her job. There's also a connection to the first movie, which I didn't get, but apparently there's a connection. It says so on Wikipedia, so it must be true. And Daddy comes home from war, so happy ending. What should I say? It's a movie made for kids and not for mature adults like me. Kidding. But I guess I'm both. I'm too young and too old to properly enjoy the movie because it's targeting kids, and I guess the parents who might be slightly overwhelmed with their children and can relate to the chaos of kids and all of that. I guess I would have enjoyed the movie a lot when I was a child, but yeah, now it's a bit weird. The special effects are very special, to phrase it nicely, but hey, it was a different time, but the pics were cute anyway. There was definitely a lot of plot going on, like summarizing the plot was more difficult than with the previous movie, because there's so much more going on. Bonus points for the person that decided to make a kid play real-life Counter-Strike and defuse a bomb. Like, how can you come up with that? And then adding the bird into all of that. This is so fucked up, I couldn't even think of that. It's brilliant. My inner child gives it a 6.5 out of 10. My grown-up version would probably give it a worse rating, but let's be nice today. I feel nice today. Oh my god, this video is gonna become an hour long or so. I'm so gonna die. Hugo. Hugo is an American adventure drama film from 2011, which was directed and produced by Martin Scorsese. Which was directed and produced by Martin Scorsese. I just mentioned the director because I think it's a name that rings a bell for a lot of people, excluding me, because I don't know shit about movies. Except for the fact that Tim Burton always uses Johnny Depp in his movies, but more to that later, I guess. Talking about Johnny, he apparently also was part of producing the movie, according to Wikipedia at least. The movie is about Hugo Cabret, who's living in the railway station Gare Montparnasse. It's Gare, not Gare. Very important. The train station. Oh no. The train station is in Paris, and the story is set in the 1930s. Hugo is an orphan, and at the beginning of the movie he gets caught stealing parts from a store in the railway station. The owner, George, great name by the way, played by Ben Kingsley, who people might know as Mandarin from Iron Man 3. Yes. I will tell you guys about the actors I know from the movies I know, and it will make you guys suffer because it's not gonna be the movies you know them from. So yeah, George is not happy about it and steals Hugo's notebook. Very mature of him. Hugo then becomes friends with George's goddaughter, Isabel, who's in possession of a heart-shaped key. They figure out it can power the mechanical man that Hugo's father had tried to repair together with Hugo. This mechanical creature was created to write something, and once they got it to work, it drew a scene from the film A Trip to the Moon. This movie was created by George, Isabel's godfather. Together, they find out that George used to be a movie director and his wife was an actress in most of his movies. George then tells his story about his life and what brought him into the world of movies, and they realize that the mechanical man that Hugo repaired belonged to George once and was a prop in his movies or something like that. Hugo goes back to the station to try to bring the thing that belongs to George, but a cop catches him and wants to bring him to the orphanage. Luckily, George is there to save the day and says that he belongs to him and a happy life, and they are all a big family, basically. Let me start with my criticism because the movie is slow and I'm not the biggest fan of these kind of movies. However, the locations are beautiful. The train station looks so cool. I can't. The French are displayed as very stereotypical French with baguettes, croissants, berets. My boyfriend is French, so I can confirm every French looks like that. The only thing that I am missing is the French accent while speaking English. Unfortunately for other French lovers among us, I need to disappoint you. They all speak British English. Did this even sound French? I don't know. The story is cute and I'm very relieved they did not make a forced love story and make the kids fall in love or stuff like that. Like, they're kids, leave them be, let them just be kids. This would have ruined the whole movie otherwise. After all, I can say I would never watch the movie again because it was too slow for me and too long, but I give it bonus points for the cute dogger love story. It's a movie for cinema nerds that are super into the story of how movies were created in the past. My highlight about that creation process were the lobsters. Best scene ever.
I've ever wondered where your dreams come from. You look around. This is where they're made. Ladies and gentlemen, the sun will set. Nice in position, lobsters in position. Mermaids in position.
One thing I have noticed, however, and it's super hard to unsee it, and it will haunt us for the rest of this video. Wait, that's not dramatically enough. It's going to haunt us for the rest of our lives. I call it nostril action. And maybe I will find a scene where Asa is doing this, because otherwise I have to recreate it myself, and you guys really don't want to see that. Okay, I can't even recreate that. Yeah, something like that. Overall, a decent movie with its ups and downs. Inspired me to work on my book though, so I guess that's a good thing. And the settings were beautifully chosen, so 7 out of 10. Ender's Game. Ender's Game is a military, sci-fi, fiction, action film from 2013. Next to Asa Butterfield, it's starring famous actors like Ben Kingsley, who you might know from Hugo. Harrison Ford, also famous for playing in Ender's Game. I'm sorry, I know he's Indiana Jones, I just never watched those movies. Or Haley Steinfeld, who you might know from Pitch Perfect, or 10,000 Saints. But more to that later. Also, there's the dude that played Rico in Hannah Montana, and the guy that played Mason in Teen Wolf. So I don't know if it's a good thing if I know the actors or not, especially when they're in just some side roles and aren't even listed on top of the Wikipedia article, but whatever. I'm just more of a movie nerd or TV show nerd than I thought I was, maybe. The movie is set in the future where humanity is preparing to go to war against an alien race that had previously attacked Earth and killed multiple people. Gifted children have been trained by the military to become commanders for said attack. Ender is the chosen one. Kinda. And is some kind of nerd dude that is knowing everything better than everyone else, like thinking nerd but loner and also like smart ass, but also, I don't know, he's special. Let's put it like that. He plays some kind of mind game on his little tablet in space. Sounds so dumb. He plays some mind game, which is set in a fantasy world, and overcomes an unsolvable problem by thinking outside of the box. This game was supposed to be a further test of his abilities. During his time on the spaceship, Ender improves a lot, and becomes the leader of his own squad of outsiders, more or less, because the people he chooses for his team are people he trusts, and they were mostly the outsiders, I guess, but then they are the cool kids, and yeah. In a fight with Bonzo, who he already had issues with in the past, he accidentally kills Bonzo, which makes him leave the fleet. But Indiana Jones can convince Ender through his sister to come back, and so he comes back and continues with his training. There's more training, more boom boom boom. In the end, he's in another simulation to get tested again, and he basically managed to kill the whole planet in the simulation. But plot twist, it wasn't a simulation at all. It was real and they actually killed all of the aliens. Ender gets mad because he didn't want to be cruel like his brother. The stuff tranquilized him and he sees the Formic Queen, which is like the queen of those aliens. She spares him his life after he showed remorse and even gives him an egg. And in the end, Ender is going through space finding a new planet for this egg. Where should I start? I don't like sci-fi movies that much. And I also had a pretty bad day when I watched that movie, so that might have influenced the ranking a bit. I don't know if it's just a German thing or a general thing, but the title reminds me so much of the good old Minecraft times, because there used to be some game mode on a server, at least in Germany, which was called Ender Games, and it just sounds the same, reminds me of another, has nothing to do with each other, but still, maybe I can remind one more person of the good old times back then. The movie starts off very confusing because no one tells the viewer anything and you have to just assume a lot of things, and every time the movie answers a question there are plenty more unanswered questions that are just appearing out of nowhere. Until the end, it's hard to say what is real and what isn't, because so many things are just confusing or a simulation and then they are not a simulation, and it's just so hard to tell sometimes. Unfortunately, there's a lot of boom 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 in the movie, which is what I really don't like. But the setting and space is looking really cool and everything. I was pleased when I realized that I can actually recognize a lot of side characters, which made me feel like my taste in movies isn't as horrible as I thought it would. But let's talk about Asa. So first of all, yellow is not his color. I'm sorry. But I really like the way he was playing Ender in the movie. I don't know why, but something made me think, wow, he's doing a great job. So I was very surprised by liking more things than I thought I would, and by liking the acting, because I was expecting that I would just go through that movie, take some notes and forget about it. But I was, pleasantly surprised. The insect alien thingy was so incredibly cute. I guess I just have a thing for big eyes, because everyone likes huge eyes, and that's why I have a jumping spider. And the start was also very good because you want to know what's going on, you want to watch the movie. The middle is a bit slow, however. And the ending, let's be real, I didn't understand it until I read the Wikipedia article, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just too dumb for kids movies. I have no clue. 7.5 out of 10. Would not watch it again though. X plus Y. X plus Y, or A Brilliant Young Mind, as you Americans call it, is a British drama movie from 2014. It's about a teenager who is autistic but finds comfort in numbers. Absolutely not relatable. Nathan has lost his father in a car accident when he was younger. He also is diagnosed with being on the autism spectrum. His father was the only person that he somehow could connect with. His teacher, Martin, was a math genius as well, and he sees potential in Nathan because he also thinks he was similar as a child. 7 years later, Martin is helping Nathan to compete in the International Mathematical Olympiad. Before getting into the competition, he has to go into like some kind of math booth camp in Taiwan for 2 weeks. After this camp, the candidates for the Olympiad would be determined. Nathan is out of his comfort zone and very awkward. He gets paired up with the Taiwanese girl who helps him out a lot. Both of them made it into the Olympiad back in England. The girl stays at Nathan's place, and even the mom, who by the way tried to shag the math teacher while Nathan was gone, realized that Nathan has improved a lot. He has issues comprehending his feelings, though. At the Olympiad, the girl withdraws from the competition because her uncle caught her and Nathan in his room together, but they were only doing innocent things, so don't think wrong. At the math Olympiad, Nathan is overwhelmed with his past trauma of losing his father and also losing his first love, so he runs out of the competition as well. His mother and Martin find him and support him by driving him to the train station so he can run after his girl. The movie features a cute yet innocent love story, while at the same time tackles the issues that math can bring. Kidding. It tackles the issue that life can bring, like loss or other topics that are important, especially for young adults that are trying to find out who they are. And I assume the movie is targeting young adults, because I wrote enough term papers about literature and the topics in the movie just fit. There are other topics such as trigger warning, self-harm. That left me speechless. Still trigger warning. As a person that knows a lot about mental illnesses, it made me furious to see this other autistic math guy trying to hurt himself with a math tool. This is just unbelievably stupid. I don't want to go too deep into that topic, but like, this does not make sense. It would hurt like hell and you wouldn't bleed at all. It's so overly dramatized with all the blood and all of this. This is so absolutely unrealistic and dumb and triggering for so many people. Yeah, I guess they just added the blood so it looks more dramatic or stuff like this, because if you don't bleed, it's not self-harm. At least that's what movies try to teach us, I guess. But besides that, there's still this cute love story between this adorable girl and this super awkward dude. But in the end, he showed a lot of character development, so that's great, I guess. Additionally, there's this very weird love story between mom and the math teacher, and it's just so awkward and weird, and like, we were predicting this would happen, but we were still confused, and they had some very interesting kisses. Well, I don't want to go into detail here, but I actually want to forget about it. The movie also reminded me on multiple occasions of the show The End of the Fucking World, especially like the way they presented the death of the father. It was just in a similar style, I would say. Not particularly meant to be funny, but still somehow very abrupt. But fun fact, the actor that plays James in The End of the Fucking World is also acting in X+Y, so who knows, is there a connection? Let me know in the comments. There's probably not, but I need comments for engagement, so please do that. Overall, it was a nice movie to watch, despite the topics that were tackled. I realized I really don't like math and I didn't understand much, and I totally don't understand how I could graduate with a decent grade in math, but that's okay. So if you don't study math and you want to feel really dumb, then this movie would be a 10 out of 10 for you. I watched this movie with my Discord friends, and greetings to Lambosko, who was probably the only one who didn't feel dumb during that movie, because he's studying math. Gross. The opinions on the movie were separated but kind of similar at the same time. Most people would rank it between a 6 or even a 7 out of 10. I personally would give it an 8 out of 10 because I realized I already rated the other movies way too nicely, so I have to keep up with it with the same rating scheme. So 8 out of 10 from me, and it's definitely not the worst movie I've ever seen. I would watch it again. The ending, however, leaves a lot of interpretation, like, for example, send your kid to Taiwan and shag his math teacher, or just because you're good at something doesn't mean you actually need to do that. 10,000 Saints. Oh, is this too loud? 10,000 Saints. 10,000 Saints ASMR. 10,000 Saints is an American drama film from 2015. Fun fact, in Germany, we translated the title to New York Saints. I guess 10,000 was just too hard to understand for us poor Germans. But for real, I don't understand why they needed to change the title, but they kept it English, but they just switched out 10,000 for New York. It does not make sense. Like, why bother changing it then? The movie is about Jude, a 16-year-old boy who lives in Vermont with his adoptive mother. The story is set at the end of the 1980s. Jude and his best friend Teddy, who's played by the hot guy from Victorious, do a lot of drugs together. Teddy and Jude meet Eliza, who is the daughter of Jude's father's girlfriend. Eliza and Teddy have sex after they did coke in a bathroom, and she dramatically licked his contact lenses so he can wear it again. I wish I was lying.
Doesn't matter to me, I can't see anything anyway, my contact fell out.
And where is it?
In my hand. Wait, what are you doing?
I'm getting it moist. Come here. Which eye is it?
Meanwhile, Jude is getting beaten up outside. Since Eliza is from New York City, Teddy asks her to find his brother Johnny for him, who doesn't have a phone and who is not doing drugs. That is not important, but I thought I added here. Later that night, Jude and Teddy stop to take some more drugs. The next morning, Jude's adoptive mom finds both of them, but Teddy unfortunately had passed away. Eliza finds Johnny in New York and tells him to call Teddy because he was worried about him, but when Johnny calls home, he finds out that Teddy is dead instead. Then Eliza finds out that she's pregnant with Teddy's child. Johnny thinks that they should be together and eventually proposes to her in loyalty to his brother. In the meantime, also Jude moves to New York City with his father, by the way. A lot of drama happens. Johnny's gay. Jude and Eliza have sex in a greenhouse. Then they find Johnny again, who says that Teddy's biological father would adopt the child of Eliza and Teddy. Teddy? Why did I pronounce the name so weird? Then they find Johnny, who tells them Teddy's biological father would adopt the child, but Eliza is pissed because all she wants is to have a family and for the baby to be seen as something more than just Teddy 2.0. Then she gives birth and starts to have a family. The ending leaves it open if Jude is having his own family or if he's part of her family as well. So, this movie, you guys, you don't even know where should I start. First of all, I need to rant about the haircut. The strain of hair left me screaming every time I saw it. On the bright side, around 43 minutes into the movie, he's cutting off his hair strain. Thank me later. But Jude doesn't just have the best taste in hairstyles or haircuts, he also has the best taste in panties, because he's a panty sniffer.
Oh shit. Check it out.
What are you doing? Oh, dude.
Oh yeah, it's Sandy McPhee. I'm telling you.
Who makes this shit up? Beside that, he's playing the guitar and skates. And I just mentioned this because in 2014, this would have been like my dream guy, except for the panty sniffing. Like, I always wanted a dude that can play the guitar and skate. And then I grew up and I decided I just learned how to play the guitar myself and I didn't need a guy for that. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this, but I think I thought it would be funny getting to know each other a bit. Then there's the father of Jude, who is telling him at the beginning of the movie that he, first of all, cheated on his wife, and second of all, that Jude is adopted. In one conversation. Father of the year. Unfortunately, Daddy doesn't change too much and he gets kind of irrelevant at some points, I guess. But yeah, he lives in New York City and he grows weed. And for the geoguessr nerds around here, yes, his car had orange plates, or like yellow-orange plate. So, you know, like the actual New York plates. Great job, you did. Great, movie makers, you had the right license plates. GeoGuessr player approved. Eliza is okay, but at the beginning, she's also very, very strange. Like, she's trying way too hard to be friends with Jude and Teddy, while also defending the father, who is a prick, and it's very painful to watch. Like, it does not make sense, and she's saying so many wrong things, and then she's like, oh, did I do anything wrong? Yes, you did. Also, the scene with the contact lenses left me screaming. Like, I'm wearing contacts myself, and I just can't imagine someone to, like, put my contact lenses in their mouth and then in my eye. Ew! Like, this must give you a horrible infection. I mean, I guess we just never find that out because he died in the movie, so we will never know, but still, ew. But finally, let's talk about Johnny, aka Mr. Clean. He doesn't do drugs and is a Hare Krishna devotee. He's absolutely the worst. His proposal is so wrong and just so inappropriate. It's like in the worst situation possible in a room full of people that are Eliza's family, and it's just so horrible to watch. Like, he wants to pressure her and all of that, and he thinks he's doing it for Teddy and all of that, but then he's gay. Yeah, I don't know, this is just such a horrible thing to do. Like, no one forced him to propose to her. He all did this himself, so why did he do this? It's so bad, it's so bad. This level is definitely 50 Shades of fucked up on so many levels. Like, Teddy and Jude both lose their virginity to the same girl. I don't know why this is so fucked up, but I think it's just the way everything happens that just makes it sound even more fucked up. And if they actually end up together in the end, which is still unclear and mostly not gonna happen, but even before the ending, they were kind of ish together, like Eliza and Jude. And I don't want to debate about if this is still weird, because they are still somehow, they're not like blood related, but still, like, she's the daughter of the girlfriend of his father, but then again, he's adopted, so there's actually no blood relationship. Hopefully. I still think this is weird, but besides that, it would make him not just the second choice, but the third choice, actually. And he definitely needs to learn how to properly hold a baby, otherwise it will get a concussion or something. No one in this movie is normal or has a normal family or anything like that. Everything is just screwed. Credits to Lambrusco again, but he said it felt like the writers were always thinking what would be the worst thing to happen, and then they went for that, and I couldn't agree more. Like, even though for me the worst part was the panty sniffing in the beginning, I still couldn't agree more. 5 out of 10, but I would definitely watch it again. No, this does not make sense. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. The last movie in this video is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which is a fantasy movie from 2016, which was directed by Tim Burton. It features a lot of famous actors like Samuel L. Jackson, who you might know from the Marvel movies. I guess the other actors are also famous, I just don't know them because they don't play in Twilight. I still remember the Pooh. Yeah, I remember the Pooh. I still remember the posters of the movie when it came out. They were everywhere, but I still didn't watch it in the movie theaters. Mostly because the German translation of the title makes it sound like it's a children's movie. And I was 16 when the movie came out, so I was too cool for children's movies. Well, boy, was I wrong. The movie is everything but for children. Jake's grandpa always told him stories about Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children and the monsters he had battled in his past. The home is a place for children with special powers, and Miss Peregrine, the headmistress, can transform into a bird. After Jake found his grandpa killed by a monster that would also scare the hell out of me, by the way, he seeks a therapist that ends up convincing him to go and try to seek out the special home to overcome his trauma and fear of monsters. In the UK, Jake finds the home, but it was destroyed in the Second World War. Later, he finds some peculiars and follows them into a portal that leads to... Oh no. No, Harry. No, Harry. No, Harry. No! Later, he finds some peculiars and follows them into a portal that leads him into a time where the house was still intact. Jake learns about the other peculiars, but also about the monsters, the so-called Hollows. The Hollows are led by Mr. Baron and all shapeshifters that are hunting peculiars to eat their eyes so they can appear human. The Hollows find the time loop, and Jake is the only one that can see them, so he helps the other peculiars to escape. Unfortunately, Mr. Baron could kidnap Miss Peregrine, and therefore the bombs destroy the house because the time loop cannot be reset, because she's gone. Then they travel to Blackpool to fight the Hollows for good. Jake then returns back to 2016 and is reunited with his grandpa, because the death of Mr. Baron makes it so that Grandpa has never died, obviously. Grandpa then gives him a map of all the time loops, and Jake could reunite with his special friends going to find another time loop. I have watched that movie before, and not just once, I actually watched it 3 times now. After the first time I wanted to read the book, and after I was done with the book I wanted to watch the movie again, and then I needed to watch it again for this project here, so it's the 3rd time I've seen the movie. First of all, the book ends with the children being on a ship sailing off to find Miss Peregrine, so I guess all the stuff that happens in Blackpool is probably either part of the 2nd book, which I did not read because I just really hated the ending of the 1st book, if that makes sense, so I didn't even bother reading the 2nd one. Or maybe they just made up a fictional ending. I don't know. I'm just very glad Tim Burton decided to not leave the ending with the cliffhanger like it is in the books, because I just really didn't like the way the book was ending, and I feel like this ending is alright. It's not the best, it's alright. It's okay. Na 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 na. One thing that is great about book and movie is a comparison between the monsters and the Nazis. At the beginning of the movie, when Jake talks about the stories of his grandpa and the monsters he fought, he says something along the lines like, "Later I learned that those monsters were the Nazis," or something like this. And it makes so much sense because all this monster fighting happened during the Second World War. So if you don't believe in monsters, obviously the Nazis are the monsters, but there are also other monsters. It's just super well done. I really love how well it's fitting. However, what was not well done was the fact that they changed Emma's character. Or her ability. I'm not kidding. In the book, she has the power of controlling the fire and is a very heated personality besides being in love with Jake and his grandpa. Well, the weird triangle also makes it into the movie, so there's still this love triangle between Emma, Jake and the grandpa. But Emma can't control the fire. For some reason, they changed her abilities to levitating. It's not like there is no girl that's levitating in the books. There is someone levitating, but I think it's just a child. But I don't also understand why you need to change that why? Like, it does not add up to me. The only reason you could change this is so Jake can have Emma on a leash. Yeah. Awesome. But besides this, I really don't get this. I do love her shoes, however, they're cute. And I like the fact that my geoguessr skills could tell me that they were in Blackpool in the end, which had nothing to do with the huge sign saying Blackpool in the background, I swear. I knew this because I'm a geoguessr expert, and in one of my geoguessr streams we had some location that was at the Pleasure Beach in Blackpool, and I just recognized it. And I'm a nerd. The actors in the movie are nice. The special effects are also well done. I really am scared out by the monsters, so great job. It's not easy to scare me, but still, the monsters are good. I don't have nightmares, so that's good, I guess. I was convinced that this movie would be the best of all the movies with Asa Butterfield, because I already liked it before I even started this project of watching all the movies, and let's just say he's in a lot of very special movies, I would say. But I was wrong. There are some more hidden gems that we will explore in the next video.